Hello, beautiful and well fans. So let's just start to break down the Vampire Lestat's episode 2, Toledo, because I have a lot to say about it. So let's just start with a short review. My personal rating for this episode would be 3.5 stars out of 5. And this is after watching it like 3 or 4 more times, because the first time I watched it, I was not a fan. I felt a bit infuriated, I felt disappointed, and then I rewatched the episode and I did enjoy it more. I digested the story better, but I was not really a fan at first. Why? Because I feel they are focusing too much on Lestat's present and they are glossing over his past. And Lestat's backstory is essential to understand the character, it's essential to explain the way he is. And I feel they are just like moving on with it, like they were just checking some events off just to move on with the story, because they mentioned Lestat in the monastery, they mentioned Lestat running away with a theater troupe, but that was it. And the fight with the wolves was so brief, like I needed more. So many fans waited so many years for this to happen, and it feels disappointing to just have like 10 minutes of Lestat's backstory. I mean, it could be intentional. Lestat maybe doesn't want to remember his past, but it's important that they take more time to develop these events. So I did like some stuff about this episode. I was just not a fan of the way everything feels so rushed. Maybe these memories will be revisited. Maybe I'm wrong and they have more to show, but there are only 5 episodes left and there is still a lot of story to cover. So how much time do they have to revisit memories they've already shown? I don't know, we'll see how this goes. And there was also a line at the beginning of the episode that I felt it was so unnecessary. Like this line: "We are not kids. We understand subtext." And there is nothing subtextual about Gabriella's and Lestat's relationship. They made sure that Gabriella and Lestat's relationship and dynamic is explicit in this show. It's explicit in the book, but it's more even explicit here, so there's no subtext to understand. There's no need for Lestat to tell us, yeah, well, you know, this is mine and this is my mother's. No, it felt too much on the nose. It felt like we were being babied. I didn't like that. I think we can have a more metaphoric prose without being too literal about it, and we will understand that. I mean, the first 2 seasons were so metaphoric, so beautiful, and they captured so much Anne Rice's language, but this felt too much to me at the beginning of the episode. Now, of course, there were stuff that I did enjoy about this episode. For instance, Lestat's song, "Why Do I Have to Feel?" My God, I need them to release this song immediately. I think it will become one of my favorite songs because the instrumentation is absolutely beautiful and the lyrics are so heartbreaking. And the scene at the concert of Gabriella and Louis watching Lestat, and then Lestat just stopping time and floating over Louis and singing directly to him while Gabriella was like, hey, why I'm not participating in this? It was such an amazing scene. I think it was my favorite scene in the episode. It's never Lestat over, definitely. And I need them to release that song right away. Another scene that I really enjoyed was Gabriella's transformation, because Lestat's music with Baudelaire's poem La Fontaine de Sang, The Fountain of Blood, was so powerful. I hope they release that poem with Lestat's music like a single, because I want to listen to that on loop. If they release that as a single, I think that will be my favorite song of Lestat ever. And I love that scene so much. And the way Gabriella just sat next to him and she just, made him company, which was exactly what Lestat wanted. It was such a beautiful moment, and it was such a beautiful way to show Gabriella's transformation, even though I do hope they give us more context for that. And regarding Gabriella, Jennifer Ely is absolutely exceptional. Her portrayal for this character is beautiful. I am still unhappy with the way they just didn't adapted the transcoded part of Gabrielle. Because, after she gets turned into a vampire in the book, she immediately takes off her feminine clothes, runs over a boy, she takes off his clothes and dresses as a boy, because she was yearning for that. And that's why I hope we get more context for Gabriella's transformation, because I want to see that. Even though I'm disappointed about that part in the character, because I think they feminized her way too much. I still like the portrayal Jennifer Illy gave to her. Like the presence she has, the way she talks. I love her Italian accent. I'm not Italian, so I don't know if her accent is good or no, but I do really enjoy hearing her. And she's amazing. She's amazing. And Lestat feels so small next to her. And she's really small compared to Lestat. Talking about height. But when she's around Lestat feels like a child. And the way to perform that presence from Jennifer Illy to Gabriella is so amazing. Like, she has that power to show that Gabriella can completely overtake Lestat. It's amazing. I really love her job as Gabriella this season. Now let's talk again about the flashbacks, because like I said, Lestat's backstory is essential. We can't just move on from it too fast. And well, I already mentioned that I didn't like the pace for it. It was too rushed. But I did like some stuff. Like, for instance, Gabriella's monologue about the way she wants to feel liberated while she is taking care of her son, which felt extremely uncomfortable, was perfect. Was perfectly adapted from the book. Like, the words were taken literally from the page, and Jennifer Illy gave us such a beautiful and creepy monologue. And Sam Reed's expression as Lestat while he was listening to his mother, while he was feeling his mother touching him, were so heartbreaking. Like, the level of talent in this show never ceases to amaze me. I'm also really excited for Nicholas. I do have some concerns. Like, I think Nicholas won't give Lestat the cloak, because in the preview for the next episode we saw Lestat is like meeting Nicholas in what appears to be Paris, and they appear to have met each other before. I think they were friends before that, but Lestat is already wearing the cloak. And it's weird to me, because in the pilot for Interview with the Vampire, Lestat tells to Miss Lily, c'est l'impossible peut faire l'impossible, only the impossible can do the impossible, which are the words that Nicholas says to Lestat when he gives him the cloak. And of course, Nicholas is also the one that names Lestat the Wolf Killer. So I don't know. I think Nicholas won't give him the cloak, and maybe he will say those words in another context. I'm really eager for Nicholas, as you already know. But yeah, I need more time for the flashbacks. I need the flashbacks to be more relevant. I hope next episode we get a more detailed way of exploring Lestat's story, of exploring his traumas, of exploring his past, because all of that defines the way Lestat is today. So I really hope they don't just gloss over it and that's it, and let's move on just to Rockstar Lestat, because even though Rockstar Lestat is important too, because Rockstar Lestat is the event that awakens our queen, well, the past is relevant too. So please, let's just focus more on that on the next episodes. Please, 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 I need that. Another thing I find interesting is that Lestat is Jesus' age when he started his ministry. Like, Lestat is 30 when he kills the wolves in his hometown. And it feels similar, like the way Jesus started his ministry at 30 years old. And the life-changing event for Lestat was the killing of the wolves. And he has the exact same age Jesus had. So I love that parallelism there. I don't know, I do love a good religious symbolism, and I really enjoy that. Now, Why was the strip ping pong club scene was so long? Like, they could have dedicated some of those minutes to expanding the flashbacks, but instead we had Gabriela and Lestat bonding in a strip bar where ping pong balls were coming out of funny places. I mean, I think they could have kept the scene, but they could have kept it shorter. I think it was unnecessarily long. And I do feel that Gabriela is a lot more evil than she's in the books. Don't get me wrong, her relationship with Lestat in the book is inappropriate since the beginning, because she wanted to be her son. And from that very moment, there was like a line crossed about that relationship, even before they were vampires. But in this show, I feel she's more like a sex thing with Lestat. Like, she doesn't respect his boundaries at all. She's all the time over him, touching him, wanting to caress him. And I feel like, Jesus, like, step back, Gabriela, can you chill the fuck down? Because it feels too much. Like, she's not a perfect character in the books. There are not good characters in the books, but I do feel she's more, I wouldn't say evil, just more intense in the show. But we'll see how this goes, because after they hung like that corporate guy around the city, when she was about to attack him, she heard he was talking on the phone with his kid. And I think she refrained from attacking him because Lestat was watching her, and the scene was immediately cut. I think she didn't attack the guy when she realized he was talking to a child. So I think there's still humanity in her, but Jesus Christ, I need her away from Lestat, please. Of course, we also need to mention the parallels between Gabriela and Lestat wanting to kill their family, and Louis and Claudia wanting to kill Lestat. That is perfect. I would have liked more hesitation from Lestat's part when they are going to kill their family, because in the books, Lestat couldn't even kill his own father. I mean, in the books, he asked Louis to kill his father because he couldn't do it. But I like the way they portray this time, because I think there is a closer bond between Gabriela and Lestat, and they wanted to get rid of their abusers, of the people that kept them caged for so long. And it's a very similar parallel to the way Claudia just wanted to get rid of Lestat, and Louis as well, and the way they planned Lestat's death so meticulously. And it is a very interesting parallel to see in this, to see the way the characters want to get rid of their oppressors. It was perfect. I love it. It was something I really enjoyed about the episode. And even though I would have wanted more hesitation from Lestat, because I did find poetic that Gabriela killed her husband, killed the Marquis, because we know all the relationship between them was non-consensual. I mean, all the kids Gabriela had were non-consensual. So I did like the way she could finally make justice for her life. But I would have liked more hesitation from Lestat, because that is like the human side of him. But I did like that after that massacre, when they were laying on the tomb, Lestat hears his nephews and nieces arriving to the house, and you can see some regret on his face when he hears them screaming and crying over the death of their family. So I did like that they kept that regret from Lestat, because he knew that what they did was pretty atrocious. So it was a good reference to the book, while improving, or not improving, just making like a more close dynamic between Lestat and Gabriela. Now, I need to address the killing off screen of David Talbot. Was that really necessary? Ever since it was announced back in 2021 that Daniel Molloy was aged up, not just 10 years older, but like really aged up, I was like, okay, I think we're not gonna get David, because David Talbot in the books is like a replacement for Louis and for Daniel, because he takes for some parts of the books the role of Lestat companion, and he also is the one who starts interviewing other vampires. So I was like, okay, I'm not a David hater, I'm not also his biggest fan, but I was like, okay, I can live without David in the show. However, it does bothers me that they preferred to mention him and to killing him off screen. Like, that was not necessary. It is true that even before the show came out, David was not a beloved character in the fandom because many people felt that he was like a replacement for Louis, but you need to understand that Louis was Anne Rice's mourning for her daughter. Like, Louis triggered Anne Rice. She wanted to escape from him because she created that character when she was mourning the loss of her little girl. So of course she wouldn't want to write too much about him in later books. But I do think they could have just ignored David. I mean, if you're not going to adapt him, just pretend he doesn't exist. Just don't use him for the show. Why would you mention him and having him killed off screen? Like, I was not a big fan of that because even though I'm not the biggest fan of David, he's a character that I enjoyed in some parts, and he brings a lot of nostalgia to us book lovers. So I would have preferred if they simply just didn't mention the character. That was so random, and I felt it was so unnecessary. But okay, like, life moves on, and I guess David Talbot is no longer in the picture. Lastly, I want to wrap up with saying that I love that Louis is like a fanboy of Lestat. Like, he owns 45% of his merchandise. He was yearning for Lestat so hard on that balcony while he was watching Lestat as this super hot rock star. I do love a fangirl Louis. I'm still curious about the Great Conversion. Why is Gabriela involved in the Great Conversion? What is it about? Is it only about creating new vampires? Is it related to Akasha? I don't know. I've been wondering what the hell is that since season 1. And I'm so confused about it. And I'm also interested in Alex's new plotline. Like, Alex running away from the band because he discovered Lestat was a vampire. It's obviously not from the books. I'm interested to see where this is going. And even though I was not a big fan of this episode, I also enjoy it. And I am still excited for what's to come. I'm still excited for this season because so many of us have waited so many years for this. I mean, I've waited so little because there are fans that have been waiting for this for 30, 40 years. So it's amazing that we finally have this adaptation, even though it's not perfect, even though it's not extremely book accurate, but it's still something of our beloved characters coming to life. And I can't wait to see the next episode because we finally will have Nikki Stat action, and oh my god, it's finally my time to cry and scream my lungs out. So I'll see you next week to discuss the 3rd episode for the Vampire Lestat.
I bet. Come on. Very specific details to pluck out of thin air. But that they're fools.